Hey, how's it going, Wayfinders? Atlantis here, and I've got a fun crazy burst build for Niss today that has some huge damage potential but does require a bit of setup and requires some more attention to mechanical play. It has really good boss clear times and still quite good in expeditions, making it a pretty nice option for all around content. It's based off Nitric, who's a really good Niss player, and I'm going to show you the basics to the build and what you should be going for to chain a really strong burst sequence with this ability power Niss setup. First, we're using the Umbros daggers for the ability power stats and weapon ability that adds on to the burst style of play. For accessories, we're using the Talon of Pyre accessory set, which brings a massive amount of ability power, which is the main stat we're going for, along with health stats that we'll need as well. One thing about this build is that there isn't a lot of wiggle room for health, so you're still a bit on the squishy side. You could always trade out some of the echoes for health or switch to Knight's Edge daggers, which would net a small DPS loss in favor of some of the easier health slotting. For echoes, you'll want to slot in as much ability power as possible. I'm using Hollow One Echoes, Deceiver Echo, the Cookmaster Echo, which is the equivalent of a Hollow Queen if you have those, Goblin Seer Echo, and the Dread Legion Echo, which boosts our ability power by 25% and is a major part of the damage output. Moving on to the Umbros daggers, I have Hollow Ones with a Codex Sage Echo for AP, and the Equilibrium Rush Echo, which is for extra stamina to dash, which helps with lingering shadow stacks, as well as Umbra Aura during the fights. Unfortunately, I have a balanced attack slot here with my best Deceiver being a green quality, but I have a Deceiver here and Hollow One slotted in for the rest of the accessories. Moving on to the Mastery, we're using Arcane Repost, which increases your damage against enemies by 20% when landing a parry. This is a crucial part to your damage output, and timing this right before you begin your ability sequence will be important. For affinities, I got similar results using two setups. You can use 15 in both Instinct and Discipline for the guaranteed perk benefits to Lingering Shadows and Piercing, or 15 points in both Discipline and Focus, which gives you piercing damage and a chance at spawning an Innovation Orb when dashing. Remember, the orbs increase your ability power when picked up. Also, the Focus tree gives more ability power per rank up than the Instinct tree with this setup. For artifacts, I'd recommend the Reaver King artifact and either Storm Twins for healing or the First for additional damage if you happen to be at full health. The ability point setups is very important, as the goal is to be able to replenish Shadow Steps. We have 2 points in Shadow Step for increased ability power and clone damage, 2 points in Umbra Aura to be able to refresh a charge of Shadow Step and 50% piercing, followed up by 3 points in Vengeful Shade to get another charge of Shadow Step as well. The general sequence is build 300% combo meter, land a parry for the mastery damage buff, Shadow Step, Umbra Aura, Shadow Step again, Vengeful Shade with the follow-up attack, and Shadow Step to finish off the enemy. A 1-minute 6 run for Reaver King, and it's certainly possible to get this time even faster with cleaner play. I also don't have the best slots for one of my accessories, and nothing is overcapped. As we move in to fight the Reaver King, you'll want to start building your combo meter to 300%, as this will buff your damage later on. As you near 300%, you'll want to land a parry on one of the attacks, which will get your mastery damage buff up, and this is where you can begin your Shadow Step attack into Umbra Aura, Shadow Step again into your Vengeful Shade attack, with the follow-up attack to do damage and granting you another Shadow Step. Finish off the Reaver King with the remaining Shadow Steps at this point. Take out any remaining enemies while building the rest of your Blade Dance meter to prep your weapon ability for use. If there are any Innovation Orbs, make sure to pick those up right before the boss mounts on the bear. During this sequence, we're going to build 300% damage combo meter again, and also dashing like we did during phase 1. Don't dash too much, as you'll need to save stamina here. Get a parry on the bear attack, and we can once again Shadow Step. Use Umbra Aura, and here we can do our own dashes, triggering the damage and hopefully dismounting the Reaver King. Position yourself in between them, and I miss it here, but if you land a parry on the attack, you gain the additional 20% damage buff into Shadow Step, Vengeful Shade, follow-up attack, Shadow Step again, and use your weapon ability. If I didn't miss the parry on the bear, we would have killed with the weapon ability here, but you can still see how great this burst damage is with this sequence. Niss may lack in healing, but definitely makes up for it in damage potential and has some incredible mobility to compensate. This does it for the Great Flame AP Niss Dagger build. It's slightly more challenging to pull off, but rewarding when it all comes together. That does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe for more Wayfinder builds and more. Wish you all the best, and see you in the next one.